where you can run into some complications with this authority is in our society, a lot of times we are told that we need to act quickly or be decisive and make a decision and forge ahead, move in the direction that you need to go. When you have this emotional authority, you really need to weed it out and see how it feels when you truly are in an emotional state when you should really be making decisions. And so you're not going to be quick to act and super decisive in the moment. Hey there, lovely. If you're a driven and highly ambitious woman who has checked all the boxes, followed all the rules, only to realize you don't actually feel fulfilled or you don't feel like you're living your purpose, then you are absolutely in the right place. My name is Melissa Chavis. I'm an intuitive mindset coach, and I am absolutely obsessed with helping you discover your true purpose, that thing you were put here on this earth to do, so that you can live the most fulfilling and abundant life possible. Hey there, beautiful. Welcome back to another episode of the Authentic Awakening podcast. Today, I am going to wrap up my short series called Everything I've Learned About Human Design So Far. So this one might be a little bit longer, so I may end up actually splitting it into 2 episodes. So we'll see how long I decide to talk here. So if you haven't checked out episodes 1 and 2 in this series, I highly recommend going back and watching those because it will provide so much more context to what I'm talking about today. And also it's really helpful to kind of have all 3 pieces for the bigger picture. Today, I'm going to go through the different human design authorities. This is essentially the part of you that is in charge of making decisions. Essentially, when you tune into your authority to figure out what is right for you, you will automatically make the most aligned decisions for your life. And then if you caught last week's episode about strategy, you might be wondering about how this is different than that. And what I can say is that your strategy is more about how you make the moves in your life, how you move things forward in your life, while your authority is essentially like this decision-making center within your body. So there are 7 different authorities within human design. And while your strategy is aligned to your energy type, your authority isn't necessarily. Now, there are a couple of exceptions to this, and I will call those out as I go through the different authorities. However, you could have any of the various authorities, and they could be in combination with various different energy types within human design. So let's go ahead and dig in. The first authority is emotional authority. And this means that your emotions are meant to rule your decision making. The right decision always makes you feel happy or content when you think about it. But there is one big caveat with this type of authority, and that is that you can't always rely on your feelings in the moment when options come into your world, basically. So with this emotional authority, you will essentially have kind of ups and downs that are very natural for you in how you're feeling from day to day. So you may have days where you're feeling on the higher end of the spectrum, like happy, excited, things like that. Or you may have days where you're feeling kind of on the lower end, where you're feeling maybe sad or anxious or just upset in general. And those are completely normal when you have this emotional authority. So what will happen is it'll go up and down in waves, essentially. What needs to happen when making a decision, though, is that you need to be in a neutral emotional state and then see how that decision feels for you. Ideally, what will happen is, you have an opportunity, something comes up for you, and you understand and acknowledge where you are on that emotional wave that day and take that into consideration when actually making a decision. Knowing that if you're on the high end or the low end, you really need to wait to make a final decision or to make a move until you're more like in the middle and then see how that decision feels for you. And if you're in that neutral state and this option, opportunity, direction feels good for you, it makes you feel happy or content, then it is the right decision for you. Where you can run into some complications with this authority is in our society, a lot of times we are told that we need to act quickly or be decisive and make a decision and forge ahead, move in the direction that you need to go. When you have this emotional authority, you really need to weed it out and see how it feels when you truly are in an emotional state when you should really be making decisions. And so you're not going to be quick to act and super decisive in the moment. And that's okay because you're not meant to be. So it is really just acknowledging that and understanding it and kind of taking that time to make decisions in your life. The next authority is sacral authority. This is a really strong gut feeling or reaction. So when you're presented with a choice, you will literally just feel in that moment, yes or no. There's also no maybe when it comes to sacral authority. So when it's a yes, you will just feel it in your gut. Like, yes, this is something that lights me up. This is something that excites me. You'll just get that like, yes, feeling when you're presented with a decision or choice or option. And also when it's a no, you will get just like a no, like, no, this isn't it. Or you may get just like a meh, meh. That is also a no. That's not necessarily a maybe. That's no. If you're just meh about it, that's not the right decision for you. That's not the right option. So with the sacral authority, truly, you will get a gut feeling pretty much as soon as you are presented with the choice, the decision, the opportunity. And as long as you are following that gut feeling and trusting it, then you're going to be making decisions in a very aligned way. The key here is that you do need to trust it. You need to leave logic out of it because there will be times when an opportunity or something presents itself and you feel like, yes, this is the right thing. But logically, it's like, I don't understand why. Why would this be the direction? Why would this be the choice that I need to make? This doesn't make any sense logically. And so you need to be able to leave logic out of it and truly trust your body. Trust that gut knowing that you will have in your decision making. So I am not a sacral authority, but I always kind of wish that I was because I mean, how cool is that to get a gut feeling and just know this is it in your body. This is a yes for me, or this is a no for me. That to me just sounds really, really cool to be able to have that. So the next one is splenic authority. And this one could be also described as just a strong intuitive hit or like this instinct. It's like you'll get these strong feelings that you need to do something. And many times it may not quite make sense in the moment, but you'll just feel like this is what I need to do. And so the key is really to trust your instinct here. Trust that intuition that you need to move in that direction or you need to do this thing, because ultimately when you listen, it is leading you in the right direction and will get you ultimately to where you need to go, even if in the moment it doesn't quite seem to make sense for you. And it's super important to listen when you get that intuitive hit because it comes and then it's gone. Like you're not going to keep getting it So if you get this intuitive hit that, hey, I don't know why, but I really just need to go to the store and buy some broccoli right now. Super random, right? You're like, I don't know why, but it's just, I just know this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. If you think about it and try to figure out why, or, logically, this doesn't make sense. Why would I need to do that right now? And you just kind of sit on it and ruminate on it. And then it's hours later and you try to think back to it. It's not going to be there. You're not going to have that like intuitive, no, you really need to do this kind of a thing. It's like it's once and then no more. Now, ultimately, if you kind of maybe don't listen the first time, you don't make that move, make that decision, the universe will likely give you another intuitive hit at some point that will get you back on track or help to try to steer you in the right direction. But if you have, taken on a lot of the conditioning that we have in our society about needing to weigh all of the options and make logical decisions and figure out strategically what you need to be doing. If you're in that place and you're kind of spinning on basically kind of everything that comes your way and you're just really never listening to your intuition, to these hits or these blips that you're getting, you can end up really, really far off track and have a hard time kind of getting back to that place where you really are just your instinct, listening to this intuition that is there and that is guiding you in the right direction. Okay, so the next authority is ego authority. And so this literally is the only authority where you're truly meant to go after just what you want in life. Whatever it is, you will just see something, you'll basically just kind of like notice something in your environment and think, I want that. You are meant to then get that. You're meant to go after it. That's the direction that you're supposed to go. And your ego is actually leading you in that direction. And if you follow that, if you go after the things you want, you get the things you want in life, ultimately you will be guided. Your ego, your wants will guide you in the right direction, the best path for you in your life. And so you truly just are meant to get what you want, go after what you want. You are not ruled by gut feelings or logic or intuition. It's truly just like, ooh, I want that thing. And then you go after it and get it. But I think here's where you can kind of run into trouble with the ego authority is that we've all been told you can't just have whatever you want. And it's almost like this idea that it's a little bit selfish to just go after things you want in life, especially if the things you want are money or a big house or, this highly successful job or something like that. We've been conditioned to almost feel selfish or like we shouldn't want those things just for the sake of wanting them and no other altruistic reason. And so it can be hard as an ego authority to actually just follow that and trust that if you want it, you're meant to have it. You're meant to go after it. And it truly is that simple and that straightforward. You just need to let go a lot of those unhelpful beliefs and conditioning that you've probably taken on in your life in order to really follow it and go along the most aligned path for you. So the next one is G center authority. And this is also known as sounding board intuition. If you have this authority, you're literally meant to hear yourself talk about your decisions out loud in order to make the best decision for yourself, to make the most aligned decision. When you're in your head and this decision is just like swirling and all of your options are kind of playing out in your head and you're going back and forth, you can feel very conflicted and confused about the right decision for you because you're not getting a gut feeling or You're not just getting this intuitive hit. It's really just like, can feel very confusing and overwhelming for you. And so in order to really get clarity and make the best decision, you need to actually hear yourself saying it. And so this can look like just speaking it out loud and hearing yourself say it, or what's best typically is to find someone that you can talk through this decision with and letting them know that essentially you just need a sounding board. You kind of just need someone to talk it out with. It's not necessarily about getting their opinions or getting their input or their guidance. It's really just so that you can hear how you're speaking about the various options or the decision that you're trying to make. And you'll know that it's the right decision based on how you're talking about it. So when you find yourself talking about something and you get very excited and you can just hear the happiness, the excitement, the tone of your voice, that it's like, yeah, this is a thing that I really, really want, and this is truly the right thing for me, you'll be able to hear it. You will be able to hear it in your voice and the way you're speaking about it. Versus if you're kind of weighing options and you're going back and forth on something, and then you start talking to someone about it, and you just hear yourself being kind of like, no, yeah, I think this probably would be a good decision for me. I mean, it seems like this would be the best option, or it seems like I should want this thing. And you'll be able to hear yourself saying essentially that this just isn't really the best option for you. And so when you have this G center authority, you're meant to truly just talk it out, say it out loud, and then hear yourself saying it and hear yourself essentially revealing what is the best, most aligned decision for you. And this is how you get that clarity. This is how you hear yourself say it. You hear yourself speak about the best option, the right choice for you, and you'll be able to hear it when you speak it. Okay, the next authority is mental authority. Now, this one specifically applies to projectors. Not all projectors are mental authority. However, all people who have mental authority are projectors. So this is very, very rare to have mental authority. And if you have this authority, you're meant to do or make decisions around things that just make sense. And it won't always make logical sense in your logical brain, but you will get this feeling that it just makes sense. And you maybe don't even know why, but it just makes sense. There is so much nuance to this type of authority, because when it comes to decisions or guidance that you as a projector are providing to others or to the outside world, you need to think more logically. You need to use that logical part of your brain to really think about it and make logical decisions and figure out what makes most logical sense in this situation, and then provide that guidance to others from that place of logical thinking. But when it comes to making decisions about yourself and about your life and your path forward, it comes a lot more from this like sensing part of your brain. Almost it's part of your body where you just feel like it just makes sense. And it won't always seem logical. But as a mental projector, you've probably spent a lot of your life just using the logical brain, because it comes very naturally. And in our society, we're conditioned to think about things logically and think this decision through, make the most logical decision. Over time, like that's where you spend basically all of your time. And then you're trying to make decisions about your own life and your own path forward from this logical place. And it gets really confusing and overwhelming because it's not always going to make logical sense to you, whatever is the right thing for you won't always be the most logical thing. It will be the thing that just feels like the right decision. And you will have this sense of, I just know this is the right decision for me. It just makes sense. But you won't be able to go back and go in that logical part of your brain and come up with the logical reason behind that decision. So it can get very confusing and it can be very challenging to then go to that sensing part of your brain and to rely on that piece for decision making in your own life, because it doesn't always feel natural to you once you've become an adult and grown up in our society and taken on all of that conditioning. So the final authority is lunar authority. And this is the authority for all reflectors and only for reflectors. If you have lunar authority, you are a reflector. If you are a reflector, then you have lunar authority. So this is one of those situations where these two things do absolutely go together. So if you've listened to episodes 1 and 2 of this series, then you know that all reflectors have the same strategy and authority. But because it's only 1% of the population, there's a very, very small group of people essentially who have this energy type, strategy, and authority. And the way that works is essentially the universe is going to show you your path forward. But because you are a reflector and you can sometimes not sometimes, just naturally, you pick up on everybody else's energy and everybody else's stuff that they've got going on. You need to actually wait it out and take some time before you really know whether that guidance that you're receiving was meant for you and is right for you. So you need to wait typically at least a couple of days before making any decisions. And for big major life decisions, really, it could be as long as an entire month, which is where the lunar authority comes from. You're going to get this guidance from the universe about your path forward and about what is most aligned for you and where you need to go. You need to be open to that and paying attention and picking up on it. And then you need to wait it out to see that guidance, that sign was actually meant for you, or maybe not. Maybe it was somebody else's and you just picked up on it. But you need to wait and see, like in a couple of days, how does that feel? Does that still feel like, oh, that's right for me? That was the thing. This was meant for me. And like I said, for bigger things, it's like 2 weeks to a month that you need to wait it out. Like getting married or, job change or career change or something, that's going to take you some time to know whether or not that is the right decision for you. So the key here is that the universe is truly just going to carry you, guide you along your aligned path. You need to be open to it and you need to just wait it out and make sure that that truly is the right path for you, that does feel like the right path for you over a certain period of time, instead of making quick snap decisions, taking quick action. That is not you. That's not meant for you. You're meant to truly just feel it out and wait and see how it feels over a period of time. Okay, so those are the 7 different authorities within human design. And when you combine these with your energy type that I talked about in the first episode of the series, with your strategy, which I talked about last week, then that is when you really can start to create this alignment and this feeling of I'm on the right track in your life. Because when you start taking all of these pieces into consideration as you move through life, you just get this feeling and this sense of like, yes, this is it. I know my direction and I truly feel like I am on the right path now. And from what I've found in talking to people about human design and helping them make decisions based on all of this information and move through life in this way, this is how they feel. It's like everybody. I don't know anyone who says, no, none of this makes sense to me. This doesn't even feel right. Like every single person I've talked to who has leaned in on this and truly taken this path forward feels more aligned and feels like they're moving in the right direction. So it's incredibly powerful. And I think I said this in the first episode. There's so much more to human design than just these 3 episodes. I mean, it goes so much deeper and can help guide you in the most minute, detailed aspects of your life. But when you combine the 3 things that I have talked about, you can really start to hone in and start creating that alignment for yourself that really will feel so good and feel right for you. And so it's a great place to start. And then obviously, if you want to go deeper, then you can go deeper and, get more in the weeds here with everything. But this is a great place to start. And of course, as I've said on all of these episodes, if you ever want to talk about this, please just send me a DM. My Instagram is always in the show notes here. Send me a DM. Let's set up a time. Let's chat about it. Like, I love this topic and get so excited talking to other people about it and sort of getting their reactions and seeing how they're feeling once they have this information. All right. That's it for today. And I think I actually kind of kept this episode relatively short. So maybe it'll just be 1 episode. Until next time, my friend. That's it for another episode of the Authentic Awakening podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you found it helpful, I'd love to hear from you. You can do that by liking and subscribing to my YouTube channel or rating and reviewing the podcast wherever you're listening.